What are the best skills in Assassin's Creed Odyssey? My last video about the subject was made around the launch of the game, so I wanted to do an updated version now that a lot of new people seem to enjoy Odyssey in 2020, and we also had a ton of new skills post-launch that I want to discuss as well. So a like on the video would be super appreciated. And let's go. The first skill that is crucial and really one of the best skills in the game is of course Second Wind, that you can already get pretty early in the second row of the warrior skill line. This refills a percentage of your max health up to 50% when you upgrade it to rank 3, and it costs just 1 adrenaline bar. Although I have to say, after getting the enhanced Ares' Lost Breath, I do like that one more, and you get this one in the second episode of the Atlantis DLC. This makes you namely untouchable for a short period of time, and during that time 5% of the damage that you deal is restored as health. So then you will easily go to the max health again, and then all the stats that say while full health will be activated again. Both the Second Wind and the upgraded version will also remove burning or poison effects, so when you have that damage over time, use the ability and it will disappear. Another ability that I would also recommend to everyone is the Charged Heavy Attack. That lets you hold the Heavy Attack button and charge up a super powerful attack that even breaks shields of the enemies that are normally very protective. But more fun is that you can also have the enemies fly, so push them off ledges that will then kill them. Or just launch them against the wall so you can easily follow up with another combo, or focus on other enemies in the meantime. It also does not cost any adrenaline, of course, so you can just keep spamming it, charge, and bam. And you can also enhance this ability even more with this Sword of Kings, one of the best weapons in the game. And you get this one in the Legacy of the First Blade after killing all the Ancients in that DLC. And this weapon has a 50% melee charging speed, although it feels almost instant that you can do this charged heavy attack, making it way more powerful than before. Another skill that I would recommend to anyone, even if you do not focus on being a hunter, is the Devastating Shot. This is an amazing arrow for 1 adrenaline bar that deals a ton of damage and also launches the enemy backwards. So then you can keep them far away from you and finish them off before they can reach you. And even if you have not a lot of hunter damage, then you will still do quite a lot of damage with this ability. Just aim for the head to enhance it even more. I prefer this regular version over the enhanced variant that we got in the second episode of the Fate of Atlantis DLC. You then place a trap on the ground that deals damage and also interrupts charging enemies, and it's very cool to see how different arrows actually have different effects. But again, I think that the regular Devastating Shot is better. There are also some powerful passive abilities that are worth getting. For your bow, we got Archery Master, that on rank 3 increases your hunter damage and your headshot damage by 40%, and also no longer consumes normal arrows when using hunter abilities, so then you can still do them when you're out of arrows. And overall, using your bow for any playstyle is very nice to lower the enemy health from far away, but also to get adrenaline back so you can use your abilities again when necessary. Like multi-shot is actually a pretty good hunter ability as well, but I can't really recommend that to anyone, only if you really play the hunter playstyle. Let's continue with some passive abilities that everyone can really use, like Weapons Master, that is great to increase your warrior damage by 40%, and also the crit chance with all your weapons. And Gear Master is also very useful to become more defensive, increasing your armor by 90%, and reducing the ranged damage received by 10% on rank 3. And there's a very similar passive ability for everyone who prefers to sneak, and that is the Shadow Assassin. That increases the assassinations and knockout damage for non-lethal takedowns by 40%. The crit damage is also increased and you get an extra adrenaline segment, so bar per assassinate, and then you can use that to do some very powerful assassin abilities, and the best one in my opinion is the Rush Assassinate. This one will of course let you chain to multiple enemies, and if you have enough assassin damage, you can instantly take them all out depending on the target. But yeah, even without a lot of assassin damage, and I have a ton of assassin damage with this build, it will still give you a nice head start in battle, so enemies are already weakened. The Hero Strike is an amazing ability too, but really only if you have a lot of assassin damage, otherwise the damage will not be worth it. You can enhance this ability even more in the most powerful way with the mace that you can get in the 3rd episode of the Atlantis DLC. Like after you forge that mace, you can put this perk on any weapon. And with this assassin damage applies to nearby enemies perk, you can create this blue circle when doing an assassin ability that deals the damage that you do to the target also to surrounding enemies, instantly killing a ton of opponents that come close. So then instead of making it a one target ability, you can easily kill a group of enemies. But yeah, it does take some time to reach that 3rd episode of the Atlantis DLC. So before that, it's just a very good single target assassin skill. There are 2 similar abilities that I can both recommend as well. You at least have to pick one in my opinion. And then I'm talking about the flaming attacks and the venomous attacks. Both enhance your basic attacks and can be done without any adrenaline. And on rank 3 you can immediately activate the ability when it is over. So you activate it for 25 seconds and then you can just activate it again to have the benefits again. So the flaming attacks is nice for some great damage over time, while poison also decreases the armor and damage from the enemy, although the damage over time is less than fire in my experience. So it's really up to you what you prefer, but really having one of those 2 active and also enhancing it with the extra ability that is linked to it is very smart. And overall, it's of course way better to focus on a few abilities and get them to rank 3 than spend your ability points in each skill but only get them to rank 1. We also have an enhanced version of the venomous attack that adds these awesome effects to your weapon and gives you 50% more adrenaline per attack. So really great when you are low on adrenaline, do this ability and then before you know it, you can do some other skills. And again, the effect is really cool. And it only needs those adrenaline segments for the overpower ability that cost 3 ability segments or 2 if you got the axe from killing the Minotaur in the main game. The overpower ability is different per weapon and can be used on a single target with a sword or dagger. Can be nice for multiple targets by chaining the attack with the heavy blunt and heavy bladed weapons, and can be a true AoE attack with the spear and the staff because you hit everyone who is close by. And this one is my favorite, by the way, although actually every version of the overpower ability is pretty strong because you cannot get hit during this time and unleash a ton of warrior damage onto the enemies. And you need to unlock the overpower ability to get to the battle cry of Ares. That makes you unkillable for 20 seconds on rank 3, turns your screen orange and gives you also more damage. Super nice in hectic situations because again, you cannot die while you can still play aggressive, so really a must for warrior players that are close to enemies all the time. But the enhanced version is even better. It's maybe the best skill in the game because it has all the benefits from the regular battle cry of Ares. You are unkillable, you deal more damage. This time it's enhanced by your assassin damage though, instead of warrior damage. But the cool part is that you get this spear instead of your regular weapon that goes through shields. So you can just keep hitting the regular attack button and even switch it off with a powerful heavy attack to blast some enemies away. It's really a ton of fun. The only downside is that it's 10 seconds instead of 20 seconds. But yeah, it's really powerful. And you get this one in the first episode of the Atlantis DLC. And if you did not notice, the Atlantis DLC is totally worth it if you want some of the amazing magical abilities. The abilities from the Legacy of the First Blade are not all that great. We got the Death Veil that you already saw likely, that makes these enemies disappear after an assassination. So enemies will not be alerted by the bodies laying around. You also have Rapid Fire, that is basically the light bow from Origins, but it costs a ton of adrenaline to use. Now the best ability from the Legacy of the First Blade DLC in my opinion is the Fury of the Bloodline. And this is basically a very long overpower ability that does not do a lot of damage, but it does give you 4 adrenaline segments back, and you are also immune during the time that you do this ability. So if you do a ton of abilities before you use the Fury of the Bloodline, then by the time the Fury of the Bloodline is over, you can very likely do some of them again. Let me know what your favorite Assassin's Creed Odyssey ability is in the comments down below. Like this video to support the channel and subscribe for way more Assassin's Creed Odyssey content. Of course, I will be doing more updated 2020 guides and already, of course, have a ton of videos on the game up. And I will also, of course, keep you up to date on the new Assassin's Creed that is likely slated for this year. Totally check out my previous Odyssey video if you haven't already on the best way to level up fast in 2020 with updated story creator mode missions and way more. For now though, I will speak to you next time. Thanks a lot for watching and goodbye.